Let's learn how to crochet a vest. When crocheting this vest, we first need to crochet Chinese frogs. A total of 6 are needed. The quantity for different sizes can be appropriately increased based on requirements. Before working, use the dark color section to crochet. Take the yarn from the middle to complete crocheting. After crocheting is finished, use the remaining part to crochet the main part of the vest. When crocheting the main part of the vest, start with a chain stitch using the dark yarn. Finish the main part, then crochet the left and right front panels, followed by the back body. After crocheting is finished, use the honey-colored yarn to work a round of double crochets around the main part. When crocheting double crochets, start crocheting at the hem position, work around the main part including the front band, then complete crocheting the cuffs. First, let's learn how to crochet the buttons. We'll use dark yarn to crochet them ourselves. In this video demonstration, to make the stitches clearly visible, I'll use regular yarn for the demonstration. Start with a foundation chain to complete crocheting. Here we need to complete chain stitches approximately 50 centimeters in length. While crocheting, gently pull to tighten the yarn and yarn over the hook. Repeat chain stitches continuously. There's no specific stitch count here. Approximately 50 centimeters in length is sufficient. Once the desired length is reached, cut the yarn, leaving a small yarn tail. Next, locate the 5th or 6th chain stitch from the beginning. Insert the crochet hook from the wrong side to the right side. Pull the yarn tail to the back. After pulling it over, there's a loop here. Yarn over the hook again and pull through, which secures the yarn tail firmly. The size of this loop corresponds to our buttonhole position. Adjust the size as needed. Next, let's learn how to crochet. When crocheting, we need to have the right side of the chain stitches facing up. Press it with your hand to form a ring. The ring should be approximately 4 centimeters in size. Press one side with your hand, wrap from the back to the front, then press it down again. Next, create another ring inside this ring. It should be slightly smaller, inside the previous one. Press down on the previous round of chain stitches, then wrap from back to front again, securing the yarn. Form another ring inside the second round, still wrapping from under the second round, from back to front. Press the last round with your hand, then form the smallest one. At the middle position of this part. Next, wrap around again from the back. Press down below with your hand, prepare the hook. From the back, through the smallest ring in the middle, pull the yarn directly to the back. After pulling it over, we can see there's still a chain stitch here. We'll remove it. Remove as many stitches as there are extra, then pull the yarn tail over. You can leave this yarn tail slightly longer, or we can make the chain stitches slightly longer. We can remove the excess to avoid running short. After pulling it over, we can see a short yarn tail. Tie a simple knot directly. Pull tight. Tidy up, and this completes the crocheting. Next, we need to secure the yarn tails. Prepare a sewing needle. For this short yarn tail, let's first hide the excess part and then trim it off. Pull tight. Simply trim off the excess part here. For longer yarn tails, prepare a sewing needle. Next, thread it through the sewing needle. Insert the hook from this position to the top. Bring the yarn over here. We need to secure buttons on one side, while the other side remains as is. Directly pass the needle through the middle position, then through the button. Pull to the wrong side. Secure it with a couple more rounds to make it firmly fixed. My yarn is a bit thick, so I'll just pass through once. After securing this yarn tail, pull it again to the front position. Next, prepare the crocheted garment for securing. Position the button and secure it, then use the excess yarn tail to sew it firmly. Back and forth through the front end, pass above the main part multiple times to secure well. Above the chain stitch position at the back, we can also bring the yarn through again. Pulling it from the middle of the chain stitch, and securing to the main part. Secure around both sides, sewing firmly onto the garment's main part. On the other side, crochet normally, sew symmetrically and securely, completing the button. Next, we'll crochet the main part. When crocheting the vest main part, start with the darker color yarn. In the video demonstration, the dark color makes stitches hard to see, so we'll use light color instead. During normal crocheting, prepare the darker yarn. Chain to start crocheting the chain stitches. We need to complete the chain stitches according to the required stitch count for different sizes. Yarn over and pull through, forming a small V, which is our first stitch. Continue. Complete the chain stitches based on the required stitch count for different sizes. How many stitches do we need to complete the starting chain? Next, complete the first row pattern. First, start the first row pattern above the last chain stitch position. Directly chain 3 stitches as the first stitch of the first row. After completing the chain, skip 1 stitch. Work the pattern into the next stitch. That is, yarn over at the 6th stitch from the end, insert the hook into the 6th stitch from the end to work the pattern. For the first pattern, we need to work 1 double crochet, chain 1, insert the hook into the same stitch, complete the double crochet, skip 3 chain stitch positions in the middle, yarn over and work a double crochet. Second pattern, 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets. Complete 2 double crochets, chain 1, then work 2 more double crochets in the same position. The entire garment is completed by working these 2 patterns. Next, skip 3 stitches in the middle to work the first pattern. One double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, then skip 3 stitches and work the second pattern. Two double crochets, 1 chain, then 2 more double crochets in the same position. Repeat this entire row, working this pattern group. Finally, the pattern we work matches the starting pattern, 1 double crochet, 1 chain, and 1 double crochet to complete. With 2 stitches remaining, skip 1 stitch, then work 1 double crochet above the last stitch position. This pattern group is how we work the first row. Turn the fabric over to continue crocheting. When working the second row, chain 3 to start, then above the first pattern position. Work the second pattern by inserting the hook into the large chain space, directly working 2 double crochets through this big space. Chain 1, then work 2 more double crochets in the same position. For the first pattern of the second row, repeat the first pattern of the first row for the next pattern. Still insert the hook above the chain position, and work 1 double crochet, 1 chain, and 1 double crochet. Work only these 2 patterns throughout, perfectly staggered from the first row patterns. The first pattern of the first row is worked as 1 double crochet, 1 chain, and 1 double crochet. When working the second row, first work 2 double crochets, 1 chain, and 2 double crochets, then continue repeating normally. Work 2 double crochets above the single double crochet pattern position of the previous row. The last stitch matches the first pattern stitch of the beginning. After completing, in the starting 3 chain stitches of the previous row, pick up the topmost stitch and work 1 double crochet. With this, the first and second row patterns are completed. Continue by repeating these 2 rows patterns. Chain 3 to start, then repeat the first row pattern by working into the chains. 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet pattern. Repeat the second pattern. 2 double crochets pattern. The third row is worked the same as the first row pattern. The last stitch is worked as 1 double crochet, above the starting point of the previous row. When starting the fourth row, chain 3 again. Repeat the second row pattern, first work a group of 2 double crochets. Next stitch work a single double crochet pattern. Repeat this row. Continue crocheting the required number of even rows according to different sizes. When crocheting is finished, work 1 double crochet into the starting point of the previous row. Turn the fabric over to continue crocheting. Chain 3 to start, then repeat the pattern. Each row repeats the first and second row patterns alternately while staggering the pattern placement. We need to complete crocheting according to the main part's even section for different sizes. After completing the even section of the main part, prepare stitch markers. During crocheting, divide into 3 sections, left front, and back body. First, skip the pattern for both front pieces, count backward from the front to determine how many patterns to skip. If 7 patterns are needed, count 7 patterns and place a stitch marker between the 7th and 8th patterns. Do the same on the other side. Count backward from the front to determine how many patterns to work. Place a stitch marker between 2 patterns. Next, skip the underarm stitches, skip the required number of patterns under the armhole. Similarly, use stitch markers to separate these sections. After marking, the front sections will continue working patterns while the skipped part directly corresponds to the back body pattern. While crocheting, complete one section first before moving to the next section. For symmetrical color distribution across left front, right front and back body, complete one section first then proceed to the next section. Followed by the back body to ensure even color distribution. This requires breaking the yarn between sections. You can also complete both front panels first before working on the back body section. All approaches are acceptable. Now let's begin casting on and crocheting. When starting the cast on, work the front section using the same even method as the main part. Complete the front section following identical instructions. Start with a chain of 3 stitches. Work patterns according to the stitch pattern. Continue crocheting until only the last pattern remains. The second to last pattern should be worked together with the final pattern. Make an incomplete double crochet in the middle position of the last pattern. Yarn over for the incomplete double crochet, and merge all loops at once. When decreasing under the armhole, use the same technique but follow size-specific pattern measurements. Refer to the chart for guidance during this section. Complete the first row, then turn the fabric over to continue crocheting. Start with a chain of 3 stitches again. After completing the cast on, work this pattern. Make a double crochet in the middle position. Chain 1 stitch. 1 double crochet. Work the previous pattern, repeat. After completing this, continue normally for the remaining section. Once the second row is finished, turn the fabric over, start the next row using the same method. Chain 3 stitches, work the front section normally following the pattern, repeat. When you reach the last pattern, work a decrease stitch, 2 stitches together. Yarn over and insert the hook into the hole above the chain stitch position to make an incomplete double crochet. Work the next stitch into the position above the first double crochet from the beginning chain. Combine the 2 incomplete double crochets at once. This completes the third row. We need to complete crocheting based on different sizes. Decrease rows under the armhole. After completing the decrease rows, continue with even rows. Working even means starting with 3 chains, then repeating the pattern above the pattern positions as usual. Complete one even row. Next row, start using the same method. Complete crocheting according to the even row count for different sizes. After completing crocheting, we'll learn how to decrease for the neckline. Once the even section is done, proceed with decreasing. When decreasing, carry the yarn directly across. At the chain stitch position of our pattern. Pull up the loops high and carry the yarn directly across this position. Then start crocheting. Chain 3 to begin. Complete the pattern above the next position. Now we'll decrease for the neckline. For the neckline decrease section, refer to the crochet chart to complete crocheting. Decrease on the neckline side while crocheting the underarm side evenly according to the pattern. Turn the fabric over, chain 3 to begin, and follow the pattern until one motif remains. When one motif remains, work the decrease. First, make an incomplete double crochet on the chain stitch in the middle of the motif, above the starting position. Work an incomplete double crochet. Yarn over and pull through all loops to complete, then turn the fabric over to crochet. Chain 3 to begin. Work a double crochet above the middle position of the motif. Continue crocheting the rest according to the pattern. After decreasing, work even without increases or decreases. Complete a double crochet at the starting position of the previous row to finish an even row, then proceed to crochet the last row. Chain at the neckline opening, work double crochets. The pattern for this row varies depending on the size chart. Follow the diagram accordingly. Continue working the motif, work double crochets. For the final row, first chain 3 at the neckline opening to begin. Follow the chart to complete this section. Continue working the pattern. Work double crochets, chain 1 to complete half double crochets. Work a single crochet on the next motif, chain 1 single crochet. Finally, work a single crochet at the starting position, leave a yarn tail and fasten off. After completing one piece, proceed to crochet the other piece. When crocheting the other side of the chest panel, cast on in the same direction. For casting on, start at the skipped stitch position, complete the beginning chain above the last motif. Bring the yarn loop over to chain 3 to begin. After completing 3 chains, maintain symmetry, work the motif above the next motif position. Place the yarn tail above the hook, and weave in as you crochet. Finally, work a double crochet above the stitch where you began chaining. This completes the first row. Turn the fabric over to continue crocheting. When working this row, complete the front section normally. Chain 3 to begin. Repeat the pattern set on the motif. Complete the motif crocheting. Continue crocheting until only one motif remains. Crochet until the last motif remains. Refer to the chart for crocheting at this position. Decrease patterns vary by size. Follow the other side's pattern for symmetrical crocheting to complete the last motif. Work half the motif, finish with an incomplete stitch, then locate the first stitch position from the beginning chain, and work another incomplete stitch. Yarn over and pull through to complete a decrease stitch. After finishing, turn the fabric over to continue crocheting. Chain 3 to begin. Work a double crochet directly into the next stitch position. Continue crocheting normally according to the pattern. Crocheting finished, turn the fabric over to continue crocheting. Complete decreases according to the decrease rows for different sizes. After completing the decrease crocheting, work even. Next, at the starting point of the previous round, work a double crochet. This completes the first row even. Then turn the fabric over, work the next row, and chain 3 above the last stitch position. Then repeat the pattern crocheting above the pattern. Continue crocheting this section according to the required number of rows. After completing the even crocheting, next decrease for the neckline, then continue normally with the pattern. When working the second to last pattern, make an incomplete double crochet on the last stitch. On the next stitch, insert the hook into the chain space in the middle of the first pattern, and make an incomplete double crochet, yarn over and pull through, completing the first row, turn the fabric over to crochet, and chain 3 to begin the next row, then work a double crochet into the chain stitch in the middle of the pattern, and continue normally with the pattern. On the third row, when working to the last pattern, work a double crochet into the chain stitch, incomplete, then make an incomplete double crochet, above the starting point of the previous row. Yarn over and pull through to complete crocheting. Continue crocheting even. Chain 3 to begin. Repeat pattern crocheting. Then turn the fabric over and crochet the last row. When crocheting, crochet double crochets on the neckline side, and single crochets on the cuff side. With the other piece, reverse order. For the first beginning chain, work a single crochet first, then single crochets on the pattern, chain, single crochet, and 2 half double crochets on the next pattern. Chain 2 double crochets. Then complete a double crochet above the chain stitch position of the beginning chain. Then cut the yarn directly. We've completed crocheting on this side. Next, let's look at the following starting chain crocheting. First, when crocheting, still find the skipped stitch pattern, the previous pattern. which is above the first pattern position we reserved on the back body to complete the starting chain crocheting. Directly bring the yarn loop over, chain 3 to begin. Complete pattern crocheting above the corresponding next pattern position, and place the yarn tail above the hook to hide it. Here, our cuff decrease follows the same crocheting method as the left and right front panels. Complete crocheting according to the decrease pattern for your size. Complete crocheting the middle section. Crochet until the second to last pattern, leaving the last stitch as an incomplete double crochet. Work an incomplete double crochet in the middle position of the first pattern, pull the yarn through to complete the first row of pattern crocheting. Next, we need to turn the fabric over again to continue crocheting. Chain 3 to begin. Next, we need to complete a pattern crocheting above the pattern position. Repeat the pattern for the following sections. Crochet until one last pattern remains on the other side. Work 1 double crochet at the last pattern position, chain 1, then work an incomplete double crochet at the beginning chain position of the previous row. Work an incomplete double crochet above the first stitch position, pull the yarn through. Complete the second row, turn the fabric over again to continue crocheting. Chain 3 to begin the same way, work double crochets into the chain stitches of the pattern. Repeat the pattern normally for the following sections. For the last pattern, first work an incomplete double crochet. Work an incomplete double crochet above the first stitch position of the beginning chain, pull the yarn through to complete the decrease section crocheting. Following sections are worked the same as the front body, crocheting evenly without increases or decreases. Chain 3 directly above the first stitch position, work all middle sections according to the pattern. Repeat. The last stitch on the previous row. Work a double crochet above the position where 2 stitches are joined into one. Complete the first row without increases or decreases, then repeat the pattern normally. Chain 3 to begin, work the pattern. Work double crochets into the beginning chain position of the previous row. This completes the row without increases or decreases. Follow the stitch count without increases or decreases to complete this section. Now complete the section without increases or decreases as you crochet. The back body has the same total number of rows as the front body. When one row remains, work the same pattern as the front body. Chain 1 to begin. This is the sleeve side. Start with single crochets. Next pattern, 1 single crochet, 1 chain, 1 single crochet, then work half double crochets. Chain 1 and work a double crochet. For the last stitch, we'll work it. 1 double crochet. After completing the crocheting here, we have 1 stitch left to work into the chain space of the next pattern, completing 1 double crochet. After finishing, leave a long yarn tail before cutting the yarn. After cutting the yarn, pull the loop over, we'll sew it later. Now work the other side, starting symmetrically with 3 chains in the middle position. The third pattern. To begin, chain 3. Next pattern, work double crochets. Chain. The half double crochet for the shoulder strap matches the front bodice crocheting method. For the last stitch, work a single crochet into the starting chain, and weave in the yarn tail as you go before cutting the yarn. Pull the loop over. Now we can prepare the sewing needle. Thread the reserved long yarn tail through our sewing needle. Wrong sides together. We need to sew the shoulder straps together at the shoulder position. Always pick up the entire stitch. The first double crochet corresponds to the first stitch of the front body. Bring the yarn over. Next double crochet. Similarly, bring the yarn over. Chain. Half double crochet. Sew the starting chain position to the corresponding starting chain position on the other side. After sewing is complete, pull the yarn tail into the fabric, pick up the stitches on the wrong side to weave in securely. Trim off the excess. The other short yarn tail can also be woven in using the sewing needle. After weaving in with the sewing needle, trim off the excess. On the other side, follow the same method, matching one stitch to another to complete sewing the main part. Once crocheting is finished, add the edging. Find our starting chain position. Insert the hook into. Bring the yarn over. Chain 3. Then work a double crochet into the skip double crochet, place both yarn tails above the hook to hide them. Insertion point for the pattern. Work a double crochet. Next, we have 3 skip chains, only work 2 double crochets across these 3 chains. Then work another stitch into the hole where the pattern inserts. Work 2 stitches into each skip chain space, and 1 stitch into each pattern insertion point. Repeat this to complete the row. Two double crochets into the chain space, 1 double crochet into the pattern. One double crochet into the last pattern, 1 double crochet into the chain. At the corner above the starting chain, work 3 double crochets. Pick up the post and work 1 double crochet. For the next second row post, work 1 double crochet. On the third row, pick up the post and work 1 double crochet. Work 1 double crochet in the position between it and the fourth row post. Next, pick up the following post and work 1 double crochet. Pick up the next post and work 1 double crochet. Pick up the following post and work this stitch. Work 1 double crochet in the position between posts. Repeat these 3 stitches. Complete this row. Repeat the same pattern. 2 stitches, third stitch. Complete the third double crochet, then work 1 stitch at the middle joining position. After crocheting this part, check if it lies flat. If it feels too tight, add stitches appropriately. If too loose, decrease the stitch count. When crocheting the final round, adjust the number of double crochets according to your hand size. When reaching the decrease position, pick up the post normally. When reaching the skipped position, pick up the motif and work the stitch. Above each stitch, work 1 double crochet. Turn your work and continue working the posts. After 3 stitches, increase 1 stitch in the middle. Work 1 stitch at the sewing connection position. When crocheting the back body, pick up the post and work 1 stitch, then continue working on the motif position. Work 1 stitch above the chain stitch of the motif. When encountering a 4 double crochet motif, work 2 stitches on this position. On a 2 double crochet motif, work 1 stitch. This section of double crochets can be freely adjusted. There's no specific stitch count requirement. Work 1 stitch on the chain stitch to the next motif. Work 1 stitch on the chain stitch. Work 1 stitch on the edge double crochet. 1 stitch on the chain stitch. 1 stitch on the next chain stitch, 1 stitch on the edge double crochet. Crocheting finished, then move to the other side. Work 1 stitch on the corner post, 1 stitch at the sewing connection position. Continue working the front body by picking up the posts. After completing the back neck opening, check if it's flat. If not, adjust the stitch count. If flat, crochet the other side. Try to maintain symmetry with the stitch count on this side. Adjust while crocheting. Compare both sides, except for the hem. Adjust the stitch count for the front band and neckline as needed. Adjust the stitch count appropriately based on requirements. Keep both sides flat and follow the pattern. Complete the last post stitch at the starting chain position. Work 2 more stitches. Crocheting finished, find the starting chain position, work 1 slip stitch, then cut the yarn. Use a sewing needle to weave the yarn tail into the wrong side to hide it. Crocheting is now complete. Next, crochet the cuffs. Hide the sewing connection yarn tails now or while crocheting the cuffs. Both methods work. To crochet the cuffs, pick up the middle skipped stitch position to start. Start with 3 beginning chains. Next, work on the next pattern, half pattern position above, work 1 stitch in the first stitch. Next, on this post, complete the double crochet. For the cuffs, we can also work 3 or 2 consecutive double crochets, then work 1 stitch at the connection points. Work 2 stitches, connect in the middle with 1 stitch, 2 or 3 stitches are both fine. Adjust while working on this part. For decreases, skip 2 stitches here, for the upper part, skip 3 stitches. Adjust the stitch count while working on this section. Different yarn thickness and hand tension affect the finished product. Adjust while crocheting. For the upper part, I skipped 3 stitches and worked 1 stitch in the middle. Next, work 1 stitch on this single crochet. Work 1 stitch at the sewing position, then move to the front body. 1 stitch on the single crochet. Work on the post, first work 3 stitches. Complete 3 stitches, work 1 stitch at the middle connection point, then work another 3 stitches afterward. Work 1 stitch at the connection point. After completing all crocheting, find the starting chain position. Work a slip stitch. After completing the slip stitch, do not break the yarn yet. Let's check the effect of what we've crocheted. If it's too loose or too tight, you can adjust it again. If you think the stitch count is perfectly right, just cut the yarn and weave in the ends. The crocheting method for both sleeves is identical.